endlessly searching for an original sound.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Welcome to The Sinners.
Thank you. Did you say the Sinners?
The Sinners.
Oh, boy.
I want to thank you for being our guest.
You're welcome.
And I'm very sorry for this question, but this has become mandatory according to my fans. What's your favorite type of ice cream?
Wow. You know, I honestly don't eat a whole lot of ice cream, believe it or not. So if I were to go in and get a cone, probably coffee.
And I'm guessing you really like drinking coffee, too.
I do love coffee. I do love coffee.
There you guys go. You have your answer.
The excitement never starts.
Now, you do a lot of video game voices. Do you actually play video games in real life?
No. I play them in pretend life.
Oh, I see. So you do Second Life. That makes sense.
No, I don't. I'm not very good at it, to be honest with you. I'm a much better actor than I am a gamer. And I worked on this War for Cybertron thing, and they had a bunch of us come over after the game was done and play the game at the studio. And I play Skywarp in that game. And we were supposed to basically, I don't know if you play the game or not, but you get out of a cave, you go on out of the cave, and then you go on your mission. And it took me, like forever, and I couldn't get out of the cave. And I just said, okay, that's it. I'm done.
So, I have actually played the game. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, a lot of people really like it. I think part of it is I just haven't been playing them as they've been evolving, and they've gotten very sophisticated. And I'm in a lot of the Batman games, and I would love to play those games. But honestly, it's hard for me to find the time to do that because I'm always busy, working on a project or doing something, or, it's very tough for me to do it. But there's some incredible games. And as they go on, I do, when I get a chance, I'll go on YouTube sometimes and just see some of the gameplay. And some of the stuff looks phenomenal.
So what I'm hearing is eventually we have to tie you in a room with a video game and not let you out until you learn to play it.
I like the tie part. I'm not sure about the video game. But yes, maybe we should do that. I don't know.
Now, do you prefer acting in front of the camera or behind it doing voicing?
I prefer it all, actually. I consider myself an actor and a director, and I enjoy all of it. I think it all comes from the same place. Although I have to say about the voice acting, the really cool thing about voice acting is that you get to be any character that you can imagine vocally, and to me, it's a lot more creative sometimes. And I get to play a variety of characters when I'm doing voice work. Whereas when you're on camera, you're pretty much relegated to the way you appear. And if you notice, a lot of the TV actors are basically playing themselves in every single show they're ever in. And, and a lot of them are wonderful actors, but I just think that they're basically doing the same thing over and over again. Whereas with voice stuff, you get to be really different and really creative. And I think in some ways it's more fun to do that.
Now, Gaming Writer asks, what's your favorite role that you've played?
That's a really tough question. I get asked that a lot, and it's tough for me because I've done, 400 different characters, and in a lot of different games and animation and anime, and so that's a tough one. But I have to say there's a few of them that I really like. Bato, for example, in Ghost in the Shell is one of my favorites. I do like him a lot, and I do like Jigen and Lupin the Third. I love playing the Joker in several Batman games. He's just an incredible character, an iconic character, and it's really fun to be, playing him. I basically really love what I'm doing. And I've been very, very fortunate through the years to get the characters, these wonderful characters that I get to play. And, for me, there's a lot of characters that are close to my own voice that I do like Bato and Jigen, and then there's some characters that are just like the Joker, for example, is just very different than my own voice, or Lunge and Monster, and or Mr. Noisy in the Mr. Men Show, things like that that are just really different voices that a lot of people even hear and they go, "Oh my God, I had no idea that was you." And those are kind of fun to play too because, you know, it's just like I say, it's something that's completely different than you.
Now, you got to play the Joker. Were you a comic fan before you got to play him, or did you just stumble into the role?
I have to add to that list Raiden of Mortal Kombat 2 because that's a huge character, and I have to include him as well. And Ansem in Kingdom Hearts is another big one. Getting back to your question, yes, I've actually, for me, it's really quite a joy and a thrill and an honor to be part of the Batman universe. I played the Joker on several games. I co-directed Arkham Origins, which just came out, and played 3 characters in that. And I've played Commissioner Gordon in several things, and Solomon Grundy and other things. So just to be part of the Batman universe and be involved in that, it for me is very, very cool. And I actually got to meet Bob Kane many, many years ago, and even back then I was, I really loved the character. So I just think Batman gets cooler and cooler as he goes on, and he's just great. And I think they, with Christian Bale's version of Batman, they finally kind of got it right. And so I think I think he's a great character, and he just seems to be just blowing up all over the place.
I do have to agree with that. I'm a huge Batman fan too. Tepperfrey asked, "How did you get into acting? And of these roles, any interesting stories?"
The way I got into acting itself was I'm one of the lucky ones. I kind of knew that that's what I wanted to do when I was a kid, and I always wanted to be an actor. And in fact, when I was even in kindergarten, I would write these little plays and skits and put them on for the class and act in them. So, I mean, I was kind of bitten by the showbiz bug, I think, very, very early, and knew that's what I wanted to do. Now, I came out to LA to be primarily an on-camera actor, which I've done a lot of on-camera as well, but I kind of fell into the voice thing, to be honest with you, and I'm really glad I did. It just turned out to be just a great, great thing for me, and I have my wife to thank for that. She was working on a movie, and the people that were doing the movie had another film that they wanted to basically revoice the lead characters in, and they brought her in, and she said, I brought my boyfriend, can he audition too? And I went in there, and the guy said, "Have you done this before?" And I said, "Oh, I've done it a million times, and I never did it before in my life." And I nailed it. And I think one of the reasons I nailed it was because I'm also a drummer, and there's a real rhythm to this stuff. So I think I got into that, and then I started doing that, and I got the lead in that. And from there, they started giving me all kinds of jobs. And from that, I got into Robotech, which is a huge anime thing that kind of blew up. And then from there, I just started doing all kinds of anime. And then I got later into directing, and then I got later into doing original animation, and then the games. And so it's been a great ride, and I've loved every second of it. It just turned out to be, wonderful.
Now, as a voice actor, you also do voice directing. As the director, do you find it easier because you're a voice actor to give the direction?
Yeah, I do, because I think that a lot of times I work with directors that are not actors or have no real experience on the other side of the booth, and I think that it's easier for me in a way because I certainly can relate to the actors in there, and I think I can communicate with them very well what it is I want them to do, and I think that that's the most important tool that a director has is to be able to communicate with his actor. And I think that the fact that I do both of those things, I when I'm acting, I'm appreciative of what the director is going through, what they want, and what they're doing, and vice versa. So I think like I say, I think all these things kind of come from the same creative pool, and I love them both. The difference is when you're acting, you're basically working on your piece of the puzzle and creating that. And then when you're the director, you're basically putting the puzzle together. So it's it's all fun. And when I'm directing for a long time, I really miss the acting, and when I'm acting for a long time, I miss the directing. So I've been lucky that I get to do, a little of both all the time. So that's a good thing.
Now, how does it feel when you go to conventions and people just tell you that they love your voice and stuff? How does that make you feel to know there are so many people that just look up to you and your voice and all that?
Well, I think that's great, and I love it. And I love to go to conventions. I have a blast at them, and I have to tell you, it's great. I was at one convention one time. I think it was Dragon Con actually, and a lady came up to me and she said, I feel like you voice actors appreciate us more than the on camera, the TV stars or movie stars. And I said, I think the reason that is because, we're stuck in these dark booths all day and we're doing this work and we don't really know, are people going to like it? Or are they not going to like it? So when we go to these conventions and people go, batshit over what we do, it's really fun for us too. We really enjoy it too. It's exciting to be with people that really enjoy what you do and are excited about what you do. And it's fun to, have deep intellectual conversations about your characters and that sort of thing. So it's a really lot of fun for us as well.
Do you have any funny stories from when you've been at cons?
Uh-oh. The only one I can think of off the top of my head was I just remember that we were signing autographs, and my wife goes with me to a lot of these things as well. She's a well-known voice actress and director as well, Ellen Stern, and we were signing autographs one day, and this lady came in, and let's just say she was very well endowed and wanted me to sign her breast, and I had to ask my wife if that was okay, if she was okay with me doing that. And of course, my wife gave her the once over and said, okay, I could tell she wasn't too thrilled about it. But so I went to sign her boob. And while I'm doing that, I realized I was holding the bottom of it to steady it. So it was, it was kind of an embarrassing moment, but it was kind of funny.
I couldn't imagine something like that happening. Then again,
Yeah.
I've been to enough cons to see it.
Yes, it's strange. I've had some requests for some strange body parts to be signed, and that's always a little strange.
Gaming Writer asks, in your opinion, what's the strangest character you've ever voiced?
The strangest. Um, hmm. Well, the Joker's pretty strange. I mean, he's, usually when you do a character, you kind of have an idea about what this guy's all about, and normally they're just these characters that are in these situations. But with the Joker, he's basically, you just have to realize he's out of his mind. He's just insane, and then he does things because he just doesn't care, and so that's kind of a weird way to portray a character, to be honest with you. I just kind of let him go. I know it sounds kind of weird, like I'm a schizophrenic, but I basically just, when I do him, I basically kind of let him go and become this. I become kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Different person?
A channel for this character, basically. And he just kind of comes out of me. And it's really bizarre. And I know I've said this in the past, and some people think that it's a bunch of hooey, but it's really not. It's basically, you kind of get out of the way and just let whatever creativity happen and just allow it to happen. And that's kind of what happens with him. He just comes out of me, and I honestly don't know where he's coming from, but it's a good thing that I keep him locked up, I guess.
Now, are you hoping to get to do him in the future? Because I know there's rumors that he's going to be in the new Arkham game. Although, I don't see how that would happen.
I think he is in the new Arkham game. I can't really talk about that, but there is a new game that I am the Joker on called Infinite Crisis, which is coming out, and that's an online game, and I play the Joker in that as well. So I've done him a few times, and I hope to do him again. And who knows? They just made an announcement. They haven't announced me, or they haven't contacted me, so I don't really know. But they had just announced that they're going to be doing Injustice: Gods Among Us 2. So I'm hoping that I'll be involved in that as the Joker as well. That would be awesome.
It would, because you're one of the best Jokers I've heard.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, Teppa
To
asks,
a layperson hearing that, that sounds kind of funny. You're one of the best jokers I've ever heard. No, I know. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do. It's really fun for me because I've done, I've been doing this for a long, long time, and I've done a lot of characters that are known to, these tiny groups of people. But it's nice to do something that's iconic and well known like the Joker, because then at least you meet somebody in the elevator and they go, "What do you do?" And you can at least tell them that they get it. You know what I mean? Whereas if you tell them you do, some of these anime characters I do, they kind of look at you like, "What?" You know? So, so it's nice to have something that I do that's just huge like that.
now, Teppa asks, do you have any hobbies you really get into other than voice acting, of course?
It sounds kind of well, I just played golf yesterday. That was great, but I don't get a chance to play it very often. If I can do it, if I can play once a month, I'm lucky, because I just really don't have a lot of time to do extra stuff. And I try, I've been bad about it lately, but I try to get to the gym. I try to work out. I try to do stuff like that. I guess I don't know if you'd call that a hobby or not particularly, but it's just we're very, very busy with our work and running around and doing stuff. We do a lot of traveling with the conventions, which I really enjoy. That's one of my favorite things is traveling, and I've really been fortunate in my career in that two of the things that I wanted to do as a kid was be an actor and travel, and I get to do a lot of that. So it's really kind of nice. And this last year we went to London and Edinburgh, which was fantastic. And then the year before, we were in Ireland. So, and we've gone to Australia and we go all over the United States. So it's been great, and go to a lot of places that I wouldn't necessarily, have an opportunity to go to, without this thing happening. So the conventions have been really great in that respect.
Wow. Let's see. In doing cartoons, is there a method different than doing anime voices?
Well, the anime generally comes in and it's from Japan and it's already completed. So we're dubbing it. It's we're replacing the vocal track with English, and when you do that, you have to act, but you have to do it so that the dialogue's in sync with the lip movements, and it adds another dimension to it, and it makes it a lot more difficult than if you go in when you do original animation. You basically go in and you're doing a radio show, and you're basically reading the script as the character. Which is nice. Sometimes you do it one at a time, like we do in anime when we're dubbing. But sometimes you get to read with the other actors. Like I just did a show called Legend of Korra, and when we went in, we had a lot of the actors in there, and we would read it like a radio play, basically. And it was just so much fun because you actually get to act off of the other actors, which you don't get to do when you're dubbing. You just basically play your own character, and you hope to God that the director gives you the right, sense of what's going on, so that you can say the line appropriately, and it all, tracks and makes sense.
So you kind of find it easier to do in a group for the voicing than doing it alone.
Well, the original, whether you're in a group or whether you're alone, when you do the original, it's much easier because basically you're just reading the character. You're being the character, and you're not having to worry about doing the lip sync. The dubbing is a lot more difficult, but the interesting thing is dubbing pays a lot less than original animation. So figure that out.
That's strange. You'd think
Yeah.
that wouldn't be more.
Yeah, well, it should be because it's a lot more difficult and there's a lot fewer people that can do it well. But for some reason, it's not, and it's just always been that way. And it's always the people that are really good dubbers. There's just a few of them really that do it really well. So um, it's quite an art. It's really different. And sometimes we'll be doing some projects. Like I'll get some films from all over the world. We have a company. We do all kinds of stuff, and we get a lot of films. And sometimes it'll be animated or live action. But we'll get a request from the client that they'll want name talent to come in and dub. Well, most actors are not very good at dubbing. They just have no idea how to do it because they don't do it. And it's like saying, and in the client says basically, well, it's acting, but it's not. It's like saying I can do kabuki, but that doesn't mean if you can do kabuki doesn't mean you can do ballet. It's a different art form altogether. It really is.
Now, gaming writer asks, do you prefer to play the hero or the villain when you're voicing?
I love them both. It's really fun to be the hero and save the day. I love doing that. I really do. But it's also fun being the villain, and God knows I've done my share of both. So I enjoy it. The thing with the villain is you can always get big and chew the scenery and have fun with them, and that whole thing. So they're both a lot of fun, and I've been fortunate once again to be able to play a wide variety of both.
Now, you have a company called Epcar. I hope I'm saying your name right.
Yes.
Entertainment. What exactly is it?
Well, as I was mentioning earlier, we have a company, and basically it's my wife and myself, and we've been doing this work for almost 30 years now. And basically, we do a lot of foreign films into English, and I'll get the films and I will translate the. Well, I won't translate them. I'll get a translation because I obviously can't speak 8,000 languages. But we'll get a translation and then I will adapt it and to write a script so that it looks like they're speaking English. And we've done a lot of Academy Award winning films. We've done a lot of animation. We've done a lot of series, and we've done games. So we do a lot of everything. And uh, real quickly, I just did this thing called Grandmaster, which just came out. I don't know if you heard about Ip Man, which was Bruce Lee's instructor, his sensei, and they just released that, and that's through the Weinstein Company. And then my wife and I have worked together on a number of projects where I've done the adaptation, and she just directed Star Wars into the Navajo language for the Navajo Nation, which was an amazing thing because they'd never had anything in their language before, especially contemporary film or TV show. So that was the first time that ever happened, and that was an incredible experience. And she recorded all this stuff in New Mexico on the reservation, and they had a big screening of it, and we went out there, and it was just really something. And then she just did a couple of films, a Farewell, My Queen, and I'm trying to remember the other one. I can't remember the other one. Two really great French films. So we do a lot of that stuff, and over the years, I've directed hundreds and hundreds of titles into English. In fact, I even was hired by DreamWorks and Universal Pictures to fly all over the world and supervise their films into other languages. So I did that for for a couple of years, and I had a blast doing it. Like I said, I love to travel, but it kind of took me out of my voice work and my other stuff too long. So it was hard to do that. So I kind of stopped doing that, but it was a lot of fun.
Now, gaming writer asks, do you watch much anime and cartoons when you get the chance?
Sometimes, I once again I don't have a lot of time. There's a few like Ghost in the Shell. I've watched quite a bit of it because I really do like the show actually. And Lupin, I watched it because when I'm directing a series, obviously I'm very familiar with it and I see a lot of it. No One was a very cool show that we directed, and I had a lead in that as well. And so when I'm directing it, I always get a chance to see it. When I'm acting in it, not so much because you'll go in and you do your part and you leave. And then if you get a chance to see it, it's great. If you don't, you don't. And, there's a funny story about that. I was on this thing called Ninja Scroll, which we did a long time ago. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not. But
I am.
I had never seen it, and I'd worked on it like 20 some years ago. Uh, that's when Bryan Cranston and I were dubbing a lot of stuff together back in the day. But anyway, I had mentioned at one of the conventions we were at that I'd never seen a copy of it, and they gave me a copy of it to watch on the plane back. Well, if you've seen it, there's a scene there where there's a giant, and then there's this little girl shows up, and he takes her clothes off, and he starts licking her like a lollipop. So I'm on the plane watching this, and I all of a sudden I'm aware that there's like 20 people looking at me like I'm this big perv. So I closed my computer and I said, well, I'll watch this later, at home. And that was the only scene that was a little questionable, but it was just, I felt kind of uncomfortable watching it in a plane full of people. But it was actually quite good, and I really enjoyed it. And it was kind of a cool film, and I understand why it's still popular today.
I can only picture that rest of that plane ride must have been real fun.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now, there's a new Ghost in the Shell coming out. Do you know if you're going to be voicing Bato in that?
Are you talking about Arise?
I think that's the name of it. I'm not sure if it's been dubbed yet. I only saw a few of it in Japanese, so.
Yeah, it's a new Ghost in the Shell called Arise, and it's a prequel. And basically, Funimation has the rights to it, and Funimation is based in Texas. We're in Los Angeles, and Funimation's putting their own people in it. Now, the I have to say that the original one, they did not use the original Ghost in the Shell cast either. They wanted to change the cast and put in younger actors for these characters because it was kind of a reboot of the show. So I know a lot of people were disappointed. I was one of them, you know, because I love Bato. He's a great character, and it's always kind of sad when you hand off one of your favorite characters. But he's a great character, and Chris Sabat plays him in the new version, and I'm sure he does a great job. He's a wonderful actor, a wonderful voice actor. So I'm sure it'll be good. But I would love to have been part of it, but it wasn't in the cards. So and that
Oh.
happens sometimes.
Well, as long as you enjoy watching it and stuff, there's no harm
Yeah.
in that. Now,
There you
you also do commercial voiceovers. Is there any commercial that you've done that just really made you laugh having to read the lines for it?
go. Well, I don't know if there's a Coke commercial that I'm in online that you can watch that we did that was shown everywhere but the United States, unfortunately, and it was a very popular commercial. In fact, they renewed it for another year, and it's if you get a chance, you can see it on YouTube. You can put in Richard Epcar in a commercial, and it'll come up, and it's really a fun spot. I loved doing that. It was fun working on it. I'm actually on screen in that. Um, I've been doing a lot of political commercials this year for some reason. They've contacted me to do a few of them, but they're all like regional commercials. None of them are like national spots, unfortunately. But a lot of them are very well written, and they're very funny, and it's kind of fun when obviously the writing is very important. If you have something that's well written, it just flows beautifully, and then if you have something that's written horribly, you have to work very hard to make it flow and make it work. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of that as well, and it's fun. It's all part of the same thing. I'm working on something right now I don't think I can talk about, but we're doing the scratch track for a really big, well-known animated series. So that's kind of a fun thing, and it's everything is work, and you just want to. And when you're in a business like I am, you basically go from job to job to job, and you just want to keep busy and keep working all the time.
Now, you used to do, somebody just enlightened me, you used to do soap operas.
Yes,
How
that's
was it doing soap operas?
it was great. I loved it. I would love to do them again. It was great fun. I was on a lot of soaps actually. I was on General Hospital, Days of Our Lives, Santa Barbara, Young and the Restless. Um, and I had a blast. I really enjoyed it. I basically played the same evil character in every. I was like always the henchman. I was always the bad guy, but I had a lot of fun doing it, and it was great. I remember when I first kind of started out, I was doing Young and the Restless when David Hasselhoff was still on it. That's how long ago it was. And I was in the hall, and this guy comes up to me and he says, "Hey, you look familiar." And I look at him, and it was John Ritter. And I said, "Well, you certainly look familiar to me." And he was the nicest guy. He was just unbelievably nice. We had a nice little chat. And he goes, "Hey, would you mind taking me inside to?" They were shooting Three's Company right across the hall, and he'd never been over to see the sets or anything for Young and the Restless. He said, "Do you think you could take me over there and show me that?" I said, "Of course." So I'm taking John Ritter around and introducing him to all the actors. It was unbelievable. It was just it was quite a cool day. I remember that very well.
Now, I've also heard that you're a Transformers fan.
I am a Transformers fan, and I've done some, as we talked about earlier. I was Skywarp in War for Cybertron, and I wrote about a third to half of Robots in Disguise, the series that was on, and I also played Armorhide on that as well. So yeah, I love the Transformers, and I'm always happy to be part of anything with the Transformers. And same with Star Wars. That was another one that I got to work on and do the games and voice a bunch of different. I did about 40 different characters for the various Star Wars games, and just to be part of that world was very cool.
See, that means when you come to a con here in Florida, we're going to have to bring you Transformers and Star Wars toys.
Yeah, that's right. I'm actually going to be what part of Florida are you in?
We're near Tampa. So, I know you've been to MetroCon a bunch of times.
I love Metrocon. They are the greatest. They're just the greatest. I'm trying to look up. I know I have something in Florida coming up, and I'm gonna give it a plug right now. Can I do that?
Oh, go ahead.
Let me see. I'm looking for it right now because I didn't realize you were in Florida. What do I have here in Florida? Florida. I know I have something. Oh, okay. Um, I have a thing. I'm going to be at the thing called Shock Pop Comic Con in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Is that near you at all?
I, yeah, I think it's about maybe 2 hours.
Oh,
That's
it's
not
not
too
terrible.
bad.
It's not terrible. What part? I'm sorry. What part are you in again?
We're in Sarasota, which is near Tampa, so
Oh, seems to me I do something in Tampa. There's some. Oh yeah, MetroCon. That's what you were talking about.
we're definitely gonna have to come see you at the con in Fort Lauderdale if
Yeah,
we can
please
make
do.
it up there.
By and say hi. And there was one I did in Pensacola, Florida. I don't know if that's close to you or not. That's probably not too close.
Yeah, not too close.
And then there was one I did in what is it? Sandestin? Is that right? Sandestin, Florida.
Not sure where that is.
There was one that was on. Florida comes out, and then there's one that's on the inside of the part of Florida that's like the bay. That's the west. It's on the west side of Florida,
Hmm.
and there was I think it was Sandestin, and it was a little tiny place, but it was just gorgeous and had beaches with white sand, and they used to bring us out every year, and they unfortunately that con doesn't exist anymore, but they had private property with three or four of these big hotels on them, and they had golf courses, and it was like going on a vacation every time we went there. It was fantastic.
Sounds nice.
It is. It was great. So, do people outside of Florida hear the show as well, or is it just in Florida?
This is all online, so everyone
Okay.
on YouTube will get to hear it.
Okay. Well, can I plug some other ones as long as I'm on here?
Feel free. The mic is all yours.
All right. Well, the next one I actually have coming up is this month. It's October 31st through November 2nd. I'll be at Anime Nebraska Con, which is in Omaha, Nebraska, for all of our Nebraskan friends out there. And then after the first of the year, I'll be in, Ellen and I will both be at SAC Anime, which is in Sacramento, California. That's January 2nd through the 4th. And then January 24th through the 25th will be at SetsuCon, which is in Pennsylvania. And I'm trying. And then the other one that we are going to be in February will be February 13th through the 15th will be at Shock Pop Comic Con at Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is the one near you. So you have to mark that in your calendar.
I definitely will. And we actually have people saying they're in England. We've got North Ireland listening.
Well, we did Erdicon in Ireland, which was fantastic, and I got to say that the people in Ireland are amongst the nicest people I've ever met anywhere. They're just lovely, and they just went out of their way to make us feel at home, and they were just terrific. And we had such a great time in Ireland. I would love, love, love to go back there. And we've done conventions in London. We do the MCM London Comic Con. We've done that. I've done that a couple of times, and so we love it over there. We love all the UK. It's just great. and of course everywhere here in the States and anywhere else where they speak English.
Have you ever gone anywhere that they don't really speak English that well, to where it was kind of hard to do the con?
Well, I was invited once to one that was in South America. I can't remember the country, but I thought that was weird that they wanted me to go down there because they dub everything into Spanish there. So I'm going, well, why do they want me there? I was just I didn't go to that one for some reason, but I just thought it was kind of bizarre.
Now, let's talk about your martial arts and stage combat skills. Words. Was it due to working on Power Rangers that got you into it? And what's your favorite thing to do on stage? Other than act, of course.
Um, no, actually, I was into that stuff for a while, and I did a lot of theater, so I learned a lot of that, stage combat and that sort of stuff. And I had some martial arts training when I was growing up. But no, Power Rangers, I did monster voices for that. I did about 40, 50 different monster voices on Power Rangers. And I also was one of their ADR directors on the show, and I got to direct a lot of the stuff. And, we worked on a lot of the stuff for Saban, Beetleborgs and VR Troopers and all those shows. So I have a long history with those guys, going back to a lot of their different shows that they did, and worked on a lot of that stuff. So, and my favorite thing on stage to do, I either like doing a really good comedy or something that's really dramatic. It just I guess that covers everything pretty much, doesn't it? But um, but I love. There's something really fun about doing comedy and getting that immediate reaction from the audience when you do it right. And they just, my wife and I recently did Neil Simon's Rumors at the Beverly Hills Playhouse, and we just killed it every night. We had it was we were sold out every night, and the people just loved it, and we had a blast doing it, and it was just so much fun to do that because, like I say, when we do the voice stuff, you're pretty isolated. You're in this dark booth, and you really don't get any kind of reaction or acknowledgement. So that's one of the reasons we love doing theater, and one of the reasons we love going to the conventions.
Now, have you ever gotten to go to Japan?
Mm. I haven't, and that's one place I really, really want to go. We've done a lot of work with and for the Japanese, and I would love to go there. We At one point we were actually partnering up with a company out there to do a lot of work. We did a couple of the Star Ocean games for them out there, and we were going to do a whole bunch of stuff, but then the economy went in the toilet and everything went to hell. But yeah, I would love to get out there at some point and meet all the people at Production IG and all those different places, all the different companies that we've worked for all over the years, and I would love to, work on some new stuff that's coming out now, and find out who we could talk to regarding some of that stuff. So,
Hint, hint to anyone listening.
yes, if you know.
Now, Anime Lover asks, what's your absolute dream role? If you could play any character, who would it be?
You mean other than something I've done, or?
Yeah, other than who you've done, because you've already had that role.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. That once again, that's a tough one too because I've been very, very fortunate in the variety and the kinds of characters I've played, and so I'm assuming he was talking about like an anime character. Uh, I would have liked to have been on Bebop at some point, one of the characters, one of the main characters, but that didn't happen. But I can't think of anything else other than that I really was not a part of that I would have liked to have been a part of.
Now, Reaper asks, okay, this is an odd one. What's your
Is he grim?
What's your favorite drink to warm up with?
Well, I love martinis. And if you know me, if you go on my Facebook page, I talk about martinis a lot. So I do like martinis. I do like scotch, and I like pretty much everything. I like wine, beer, and I like it all. So, but martinis is my drink of choice generally. And I like both. I like vodka and gin.
You would have liked it a few days ago when we had a little bit of a drinking contest on the
Yeah.
channel.
Well, it's funny. I don't know if you know Greg Hauser or not. He's another VO guy, but I think he's based in Washington, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, they had us as guests at this convention, and they kept buying us martinis. Well, he tried to keep up with me, and apparently he couldn't. And I wasn't even aware of it. I didn't realize it was a contest at all. But he was very upset that he was unable to keep up with me. So now he's challenged me to a public drinking contest, which my wife very much does not want me to participate in. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but we'll see. But yeah, I was. I don't like to. Obviously, I don't want to overdrink or anything like that. I try to have two, and that's it. That's my limit. But sometimes, you get a little nutty, and you can do that once in a while.
Yeah, once in a while isn't bad.
Once,
You can always do the drinking contest for charity or something.
well, there you go. See, okay, that's a good spin. I should tell my wife. It's for charity.
Oh
It's
no,
for
she'll
charity.
be mad at me now for giving you the idea.
Well, better she's mad at you than me, quite frankly.
Now, has any of the roles you've done been really demanding on your mind, your voice, and your body?
Um, Sometimes, but in general, I don't mind doing any character. I don't have a problem creating any character. The ones that are really hard, and this is strictly a physical thing, is the like the Call of Duties and the Spec Ops and those games where you're basically just screaming your ass off for hours, and those are the tough ones, really, because they're just really hard on your throat. And you're just when I was a kid, I could go in there and scream for 8 hours a day and it wouldn't be a problem, and I did it all the time. But as I'm getting older, it's not so easy to do that hour after hour after hour. I remember one job I did for Spec Ops. I was only supposed to work 4 hours, and the guy had me there for 6 hours, and had me screaming constantly. And then at the end of the session, he said, "I saved the 10 best loops for the end of the session." I said, "What are the 10 best loops?" He said, "We're going to burn you alive with a flamethrower, and we need 30 seconds each of this." And I'm going, "You need," and he wanted 10 of them. I said, "You need 10 of these?" He goes, "Yeah." So we did that, and I totally, blew my voice out. And of course, the next day I had to do a Hallmark commercial on the radio, and I sounded like I gargled battery acid. So
Oh dear, I was just about to ask if you ever actually lost your voice doing any parts.
yeah, you do. The best thing to do is gargle warm salt water, and then there's some stuff that actually Freddie Tatasciore found. It's I believe it's Chinese cough syrup that he found somewhere. It's just this very thick, loquat and honey serum that's very, very thick, and it coats your vocal cords. And he does a lot of, I mean, he's the Hulk, and he does a lot of screaming, and he kind of found this for himself and shared it with me. And it's a great thing because if you're going to go in and it's going to be vocally demanding, you just take a few swigs of this in between your dialogue and stuff, and it basically coats your vocal cords and protects them from getting frayed while you're doing this stuff. So
Now, do you have any suggestions for those looking to get into voice acting?
yes, go to medical school. Basically, the best advice I can give you is just if you're really interested in this work and you really have to do it and there's nothing else you can do, then I would advise you to become the best actor you can be, and then train as an actor, and then train as a voice actor. And it doesn't have to be expensive. There are a lot of shysters out there you have to be careful of, because there's people that charge a lot of money and really don't have the credits to back it up. So you have to check these people out, make sure they're legitimate people and they're not just going to take your money and screw you over. And the best way to do it is, if you're on a budget and you're starting out, is to go take some college courses. Go take go take drama and theater in college, and go take voice classes in college, and that way at least you're being trained by legitimate teachers, and they know what they're doing for the most part. And then when you want to fine tune it, then you can start studying with coaches and that sort of thing. But I really caution people, because like I say, there's a lot. I was noticing in the trades one time I was reading in there, there was some lady who was teaching in Florida, actually, I believe it was, and she wanted like $4,000 or $5,000 to teach people, voice acting. And I looked up this woman, and she had no credits at all. And I don't know who she was or where she came from. I never heard of her, and so I just caution people, because there are a lot of crooks out there. You just have to be careful.
I know here we actually had someone $200 a lesson for
Hmm.
like an hour's lesson. I thought that was nuts.
Yeah, that's a little expensive, and I don't know who the person is or what their qualifications are, but people ask me all the time to teach, and I've actually never had the time to do it because I've been so busy working, but I'm considering it because there's just so much misinformation out there that it'd be nice to teach a class, and not bilk everybody out of a lot of money and just basically help the people with the class.
Well, the way you seem, I think you'd make a perfect teacher.
Well, thank you.
Now, I think we've kept you long enough. I want to thank you so much for joining us. I hope you come join us again sometime to give more shout-outs to conventions you're going to be at.
Anytime.
And I would like if you would do a shout-out for us, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. What would you like me to say?
Well, all I've got written, because I'm not very creative today, I'm Richard Epcar, and welcome to the Sinners.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
I'm Richard Epcar, and welcome to the Sinners.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And I know all my fans are really happy you joined us.
Oh, thank you. Well, you have to send me a link of where the show is so we can check it out and put it on our Facebook page. And also, please ask all of your fans and friends that are listening to join me on my Facebook fan page and Twitter as well.
There you go, guys. I'll put a link in the description for the video, and I'll put it in the chat for everyone. And I hope you come join us on ours, too.
I will. I'll be happy to.
Once again, thank you for joining us. Bye.
Thank you. Nice talking to you.
Nice
Bye-bye.
talking to you, too.
For playing it coy, keeping you as my toy. When all along I was yours, misty